And we are live once
What
again
up?
on the Insurance Bro Show. And I'm over here setting up my light because we're here a little bit earlier than usual today. So tune in. We got a fun one for y'all today. We're going to talk about time management skills and strategies for work. You ready?
Let's do it.
The Insurance Bro Show is a podcast for agents who want to grow their agency and be titans of the insurance industry. Learn from a panel of experts who share their agency struggles, their experiences with the nation's best carriers, and share the marketing secrets that successful insurance agents are using today. Now, here's your host, the Insurance Bro, James Cias.
All right, all you insurance pros out there, let's dive into another fun episode. But before we do, a quick reminder to please subscribe on whichever platform it is that you're catching us on today. Give us a like, give us a follow, subscribe, and drop a review, and help other like-minded insurance agents find value from our guests and our articles as we rise up in those podcast rankings. I will sincerely appreciate every single one of you for it. And if you want to be a guest on the show, we'd love to have you on here and learn from you. Go to www.insurancebroshow.com/guest and schedule your time slot. And don't forget to follow me while you're at it on all my social media at Insurance Bro Show. All right. So we do have a fun one ready to go for you guys today. It is 7 habits, 7 skills, time management skills, and strategies for work. So it's definitely something that we as insurance agents, it's really easy to get lost in all of the minutia, all of the different things that we need to do throughout the day. I know that in many conversations that I've had with all of my agents, we all run into this same problem. There's, customers coming this way. There's customers coming at us from this way. There's all the stuff that's already on our desk that we've been working on, and it's just one thing after another. The phone doesn't stop ringing. The emails don't start coming. The Slack messages don't stop. And we got to figure out ways to stay organized and continue to make things happen. So we're going to go through these 7 habits, these 7 time management skills that will help you get ready and, be more productive throughout the day. And this article comes from Liquid Planner. So that's liquidplanner.com.
By the way, this is the curse and the blessing of every solopreneur out there. Everybody who is 1099, who does not have a job, who does not clock in and clock out every day. This is both the blessing and the curse. You have time to do whatever you want. Problem is, you have time to do whatever you want. And if you don't put things in perspective and in order for yourself, time is going to fly by. It doesn't care what you're doing with it. It will still tick away. So let's jump into that first one.
Life only moves in one direction. That's what our good buddy Whitey always said.
That's true. It only moves in one direction.
Only moves in one direction. So speaking of, I don't know about speaking of, but tip number 1 is to start your day with a clear focus. Now we've been doing this for about a year and a half now. I'm kind of clearing my desk here a little bit, but we've been doing these weekly planners that are really super helpful in showing us what are the things that we need to get done every single day. So having that clear focus in mind, knowing exactly the one thing at a minimum that you need to get done throughout the day, helps to alleviate some of the stress. There are some days, some weeks, sometimes when I don't do my weekly planner, and those weeks are definitely the least productive because when I wake up in the morning, I'm not sure what I want to do. I'm not sure what I need to do. I don't have the plan set out in front of me. So when I have my weekly plan set and I know exactly what I need to do that day, it's easier to get myself closer to the goals that I want to accomplish. And I know you do it a little bit differently. You actually have a morning journal.
I do keep a morning journal, and part of my morning journal has my daily intent. These are the things that I need to get done, and on my daily intent are the things that will get me in front of more people to tell them what it is I do. I got to make sure I do those things every single day. And then what are the other things in my day that I need to get accomplished that I'm working on? Do I have to write up an offer? Do I have to, send out some specific email? Do I have to create some extra content? Am I this week I'm learning all about, creating ads on Google. So I'm spending a lot of time time watching YouTube videos and stuff like that, but it's all part of what I put into my daily agenda. So, sometimes it's better to explain something in a story. So picture this, like if you are listening to this, you woke up this morning, congratulations, you win on that aspect. You woke up, right? But if you didn't have a plan for today, what happened? You got up, if you probably have kids, you probably have a spouse, right? She probably went to work or is not working, whatever the situation is. You maybe you got up at 5, 6, maybe 7 o'clock, right? Let's say you got up at 7 o'clock in the morning. Most people tend to get up around that time, and you start making the kids some breakfast, or you start, getting yourself ready, making your coffee. Maybe you watch a little bit of TV or some Netflix in right before the morning gets started, and then you finally, head out the door and you're on your way to work. You get to work, it's probably around, 9 o'clock, right? But so at 9 o'clock, you sit down and you're like, okay, I'm going to get my day started. So what do? You turn on your computer and you start looking at emails, and then you kind of start deleting the ones that don't mean anything. And then maybe you respond to a couple here and there. And now you've done that. Okay, cool. Now it's time to get to work, but you don't actually have an agenda for the day. Right. So now you start thinking, okay, well, what can I get done? And so you grab your phone to look at your calendar, and of course there's notifications. So you start looking at your Facebook and you start looking at your TikTok, and then, all of a sudden you're like, oh, I need to get some work done. So you finally, put something down. Now all of a sudden it's not, 9 o'clock anymore. Now it's like 11:30. You're starting to look at the clock and you're thinking, okay, I got to get to lunch. My stomach is starting to talk. So you go out to lunch and then you come back. Now it's like 1:30 in the afternoon. This is what happens to your day. And then finally at 1:30, you're like, okay, now I got to get busy. So now the phone rings and it's a customer, and you got to handle the customers, whatever's going on with the customer. And then your employees start asking you questions. So you start dealing with that, your coworkers. And before you know it, it's 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and it's time to clock out. You're ending your day. You're on your way home. Now it's time for, soccer practice or making dinner, whatever it is. And boom, your day's gone. You've literally had a day that has sucked the life out of it because you didn't do the one thing that was most important, which was to plan a day. All you needed to do was situate what are the most important things that you had to do today. If you started your day with that one clear vision, everything else still would have happened. You still would have made breakfast. You still would have answered the emails. You still would have handled the customers. You still would have handled, the kids, practice after school, after work or whatever. All that stuff still would have happened. But you would have had your focus and attention at the very beginning of your day to conquer those things that need to get done. That is the biggest flaw that we see with a lot of independent contractors, 1099 people, is that the day eats at us. We don't live our day. We don't plan our day to be successful. The day just kind of happens. We're like a fart in the wind, and we just go wherever it goes. And that is not a way to lead a successful life. If you want to be successful at anything, you need to have a defined goal or vision of where it is you want to go, and then head in that direction. So if you're not starting off with this tip number 1, which is start your day with a clear focus, know exactly what's going to happen, whether you write it the day before or you write it in the morning. If you don't have that clear focus, your day's going to happen. It's just not going to happen for you. It's going to happen to you.
Boom. I don't even have a good
retort.
Friggin', not a retort. Like, I want to drop a clip right there. I want to drop like a like.
All right, I gotta write that one down. I'm writing that one down.
That was
mic
a good
drop.
one.
I gotta write that clip. Mic drop. Mic drop.
Mic drop. Dropping bombs.
Explosion.
Whatever. Like.
All right, cool. Gotta write that down.
It, dude. That was
it.
Because everything that you said is 100% accurate. I love the story that you went through, because honestly, I mean,
it's my story.
Exactly.
It's just my life. Like, literally, that's what happens to me. I make breakfast for the kids in the morning, and that's exactly what happens. If I don't have a plan, that's what happens to me. I do take my kids to practice after school. Like, that's what happens. And I don't want you guys to have the same issue where you lose your entire day because you didn't plan it. Right. And that's the problem. And that doesn't mean you didn't sit in front of your computer. That doesn't mean you didn't go to the office. That doesn't mean you didn't talk to, your clients or do any work. I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is you did what the world told you to do rather than what you wanted to do. And that's a big difference.
Huge difference. All right, let's move on to number 2. Have a dynamic task list. So for me, this is my daily schedule. I have my daily schedule printed out. All I have to do is look right up there behind my computer, up on my cork board, and I can see exactly what I need to do every single day. And those are the things that I have to get done. The dynamic task list to me means that, I might have something set up in here. For example, I have from 10 to 11 every day. It's my eat my frog hour. It's my one thing that's on my weekly planner that I need to get done. I set aside that hour to make sure that I'm working on that specific thing. But you know what? Sometimes things come up. I have a meeting, a vendor or rarely a customer, but a vendor or an agent or somebody who. Whoops, I think I lost you. For a second there, you're back.
I saw myself disappear.
Yeah, weird. But I'll have all of these different things that might come up that might take that hour. And you know what? That's okay, because I can move it to another hour. It's dynamic to me because it's one of the tasks and one of the things that I need to do, but it doesn't necessarily have to stay within that hour. It's just, I know that I need to do that. That's when I usually do it. If something comes up and takes that time slot, then I just need to adjust and move it down to a different time and make sure that it gets done.
I use my Google Calendar to do that, and I use a different coding, right? So, for example, when I'm going to be on a podcast, our James's joint calendar and I for my calendar is yellow, so I know on those times that when I see yellow, it means I have to be on a podcast that we're hosting. If I see red, it means I'm either making a phone call or I'm on a podcast as a guest on somebody else's show. These are things that are set in my calendar that I review every morning. When I'm looking at my day, when I'm planning out my morning, what is my intent? I have to look at these things, and then I have those flexibility of the in-between time. Sometimes it's 15 minutes, sometimes it's an hour in between, but that gives me that time, that little flexibility to move things in or set appointments or complete a specific task for whatever is going on in that particular day. So use a calendar to plop in what you need to. If you're old school and you're using, a calendar, pen and paper, that's totally okay. Just have it with you so that you can reflect it on a regular basis. I like to use my calendar stuff with my phone because when somebody sends me an invite or whatever, it's going to be, it automatically populates on my phone and I'm ready to go. So that's tip number 2. Let's go on to number 3, because it kind of leads into this thing. Focus on high value activities.
Or money-making activities.
Look, we only have 24 hours in a day. Oprah has 24 hours in a day, right? The greats, RIP, the Kobe's and the Jordans of the world, they only had 24 hours in a day. The Bill Gates in the world, they only have 24 hours in a day.
Right.
You hate them, the Donald Trumps in the world. How is it that those people are way more effective with their time and have achieved higher levels of success than you have with the same 24 hours? And it comes down to what high value activities are you focusing your attention on?
Right.
We tell our people there's only 5 activities that you should be doing on a daily basis: lead generate, lead follow up, present, negotiate, and close. Those are the things that you should be doing every single day. I was listening to Billy Jean's podcast, by the way, and he was talking about if you're upset with your sales numbers, you really got to audit what you're doing. You've heard the 90-10 rule, right? Well, the 90-10 rule, if you flip it on reverse, think about how many times did you ask somebody for a sale? How many times did you ask somebody for money today? Did you spend 90% of your day asking people to close a sale? Did you spend 90% of your day lead generating, lead follow-up, presenting, negotiating, or closing? If you did not spend 90% of your day doing those types of activities, that's the result that you're getting. How many calls did you make today? How many people did you meet today? If it's in the zeros or the ones or the twos, that is going to be a direct correlation to the revenue that you're generating for your business. There's only so much time in the day, so you need to focus your attention on those 5 activities. Everything else is busy work. And I'm not saying it's not important. It's definitely important to audit your files. It's definitely important to develop your brand. It's definitely important to answer the phone, all these different things. But the $5 productive activities are the things that you need to focus most of your day on if you want to achieve more dollars in your bank account. I mean, it's really that simple.
Yeah, I mean, those are the 5 things that salespeople need to be doing in different positions and different job descriptions. Those aren't necessarily the 5 things, but for salespeople, and that's what we are here on the insurance. Here in the insurance industry, we're salespeople, and those are the 5 things that we need to be focusing on. Now I'm going to try it again. Lead generation, lead follow up, present, negotiate, close. There we go. I always forget it.
You're gonna get it.
I know, right? It's in there. It's just like it's swirling around and swimming around, and my mind is like in a million different places. And I'm like, I know these things. I've heard it 1,000 times. It's just when I try to pull it, it's like
it doesn't. It stops. It stops halfway around the corner.
It stops halfway around there. So, but those are the things that we need to be focusing on as insurance agents, and anything else other than that is busy work, but not dollar productive work. So we want to focus on those high value, money generating activities. Otherwise, I mean, it's still work, right? It's still work when we're on Facebook. Oh, great. I got the landscaper out there. Can you hear it?
Just barely.
Whatever. Okay, cool. Well, anyway, it's still work when you're on Facebook and you're talking to people and leaving comments. It's still work, right? That's part of your marketing strategy, is to engage with as many people as you can on social media. So you can still call that work, but those aren't the value driving. Those aren't the lead generating. Those aren't the things that are going to really make money and make you successful in your business.
Did you ask somebody for money? Did you make an offer? If you didn't make an offer, then it was not a dollar productive activity. That's really what it comes down to. Whatever the offer is going to be. If you're not making an offer, if you're not making an offer, you are not earning dollars. That's it. Boom. Plain and simple. Like, there's no if, ands, or buts about it. One of the things I heard and I don't remember where I heard this one from, was act as if your spouse was right over your shoulder watching you at all times. Like, if your spouse was over your shoulder watching what you were doing, and you were, TikToking for the last 30 minutes, were you working? Mm-hmm. I know that spouse would be like, excuse me, that is not work. Right? Act like somebody's watching you, somebody you care about, somebody that you're relying on to pay the bills and put food on the table. That person who's relying on you is watching you work. Are you working? Are you focusing your attention on bringing that bacon home so you can eat the bacon? Quite literally, right? If you're doing that, those are the dollar productive activities. Those are the high value activities. If not, they're not urgent. Skip them. Speaking of which, let's move on to number 4, minimize interruptions. Because so many times this is exactly what that is. Your phone lights up, right? It's sitting on, and this happens to me all the time. Phone's sitting on the desk, not paying any attention to it. Actually, I don't know where it is right this second, but not paying any attention to it. And when out of the corner of my eye, it blinks, right? Something comes up on it. And I immediately look over at it. And it could be anything. It could be a Facebook notification. It could be a text message from a customer, from an agent, from a loved one, whatever. It can be, any of these things. It could be an NFL, right? Notification now. Update. Oh, shoot, I got to do something on my fantasy league. Whatever. My roster, COVID.
Oh, dude, it's terrible right now. But I mean, these are all of those interruptions that come up during the day. And that's exactly, what we wind up doing. We're trying to get some work done, and then boom, that phone rings or blinks, and exactly. And then we're off and we're gone for like an hour. And like you said, there goes our day. It just keeps snowballing like that. And next thing you know, our whole day's gone.
The fact that you don't have your phone around you is a plus, but I guarantee you're wearing your watch.
Facts.
Right. So you don't actually you carry the distraction with you even more. So if you can minimize these interruptions, take the phone off, unplug it, or let the battery die, or put it in another room, or whatever it is, close the tabs. My personal downside to what I do is I always have a million tabs open. I'm on a MacBook, so you guys know I use Chrome on a MacBook, so I can't really toggle between Chrome tabs using Alt tab like I normally do. You have to kind of swipe, right, to go to the different rooms. But I have one that's all for school, and it's got a bunch of tabs on it. I have one that is just for podcasting. That one has a bunch of tabs on it. I have one that's just for creating funnels. And that one has a bunch of tabs on it. And what happens every time I go back to one of these things, I notice my tab says, "Ooh, there's something, somebody send me a message on that. Ooh, an email just popped up. Ooh." And and that's the thing is, every time you see a distraction, if you're putting it in front of your face, you can't help but to look at it. They're designed that way. The fact that you have a notification, it's designed that way. It's like going to the casino and hearing those ding, 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 something, those notes are not random. They pick those notes on purpose because they grab your attention. The way your cell phone is designed, the way those apps are designed, the way those notifications are designed, they are designed to grab your attention. They're to alert you. Literally, your phone is asking you for that permission.
Social Experiment or whatever it was.
Yeah. And those based on that, right? Those apps have algorithms built in, and they're sending you notifications strategically so that you come back to the app. And you're spending more and more time. Now, the more time you give them is less time that you're giving your business or your company or your clients or your revenue base, whatever it is that you want to focus your attention on. You're literally taking those things and stealing from yourself and giving it to them. So
he ain't lying.
So minimize those interruptions, or they're gonna rule you.
Facts. And it leads right into procrastinating, because that's what we do. We love interruptions. Our brains are designed to find the easiest path, right? We just want to do things as easy. We don't want to struggle. We want to do things as easily and pain-free as possible. Our brains do not like pain. Our brains don't like confusion. Our brains don't like extra work, extra stress, any of that. So we're going to find the easiest ways out. When we have those interruptions, all it does is lead us to procrastinate. And I love that line that you just said. The time that you give to those things is the time that you're taking away from your business. You're taking away that time from your own success. You're taking away that time from your own potential. Everything that you want to do, that you want to accomplish in your business, it needs time. It needs your energy. It needs your attention. It needs your focus. It needs all of these things. And when you allow those interruptions to get in there and take away from all of that, we start procrastinating, and we love to do it. We love it because it takes us away from the real work that we need to do.
I'm going to give you another side of procrastination. There's times where rather than picking up the phone to make a phone call, I would choose to wash the dishes, clean the toilet, do some yard work, everything other than those dollar productive activities. Anything that makes you uncomfortable is the thing that you're going to procrastinate on. I can guarantee you, with almost 100% certainty, if we were to go down your list of things that you've been procrastinating on, I'm 99% sure that those things are the dollar productive activities. Those are the things that you're putting off because they make you uncomfortable. I was talking to my dad this weekend, and I was talking to Pops, and we were talking about the book that he's writing and how he's the personal integrity creator. He's developed all these little mini series for these things, right? And his intention is to get to the point where he can sell this, and then he won't have to work anymore. He can do that full time. And I had a heart to heart with him. I'm like, well, why aren't you selling it now? And that's a difficult question for people to answer. He's like, well, I need to do this. I need to do this. I need to do this. I'm like, no, you don't. I go, the problem that you have is the same problem that I have, is the same problem that many of you watching or listening have, is that you don't want to get in that uncomfortable position where you ask somebody for money.
Yep.
You might talk about what you have. You might spend a lot of time writing about what you've got. You might spend a lot of time creating SOPs and doing all kinds of great stuff for your business. But if you never go out and ask somebody for their money, for their business, that's where you fall off. And I can guarantee you the things you're procrastinating on are those things, are the things that are putting you in front of somebody to tell them what it is you do and making an offer.
Oh, you're right. And when you're right, you're right. And you're always right.
You're skipping the most important part of your day. You're procrastinating on that. And because you're procrastinating on that, it weighs heavy on your shoulders, and you're never going to get to that position that you want to get to. Stop procrastinating. Stop putting aside those things that make you uncomfortable. Swallow that frog. Get off your pedestal and stop making excuses. The toilet will get cleaned later. The yard work will get done later. The dishes will still get done. Focus on those things that you need to do. And I can guarantee you the other things, all of a sudden you just don't feel like doing them. I'll be honest. I spend, there's days where I'm just done. I've done every single thing on my daily intended list. I've done every single thing that I was supposed to do on my list. And now I have time at the end of my day, and I choose to do whatever I want with it. And there's times where I'll sit there and, sit next to the wife, and we're going to watch TikToks for the next hour. And it doesn't matter because I've earned that time. I've put in all the work necessary throughout my day.
Nice.
I put myself in front of people. I've made the offers. I've asked the questions. I've made myself uncomfortable. And at the end of the day, that's my time. I feel zero guilt.
Time off.
I feel zero guilt about watching junk and crap and stuff at the end of the day because I've done everything I need to do ahead of time. That's what it feels like. That's what it feels like.
Yeah. Yep. Next one, number 6, limit multitasking. Now, this is directly talking to you, Mr. I've got this tab over here with 15 tabs open and this window over here with another 15 tabs open. I used to have, it was at the other office. So before COVID, when we were at the other office, I had this sign right in front of my desk that said, only the project that I'm currently working on is allowed to be open on my desktop. So I just had it sitting there in front of me as a constant reminder. The only thing that I have on my desk is the thing that I'm working on. Anything else is a distraction. We all want to try and be great multitaskers, but the fact is that none of us, very, 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 very few of us really are. Instead of giving 100% to one task, we're trying to divide our attentions between, 10 different tasks. And when we were listening to Russell Brunson the other day, he showed me this video and he's like, look, you got all of these staff members, you have all of these people, and you're trying to do the job of 10 people. And you might be pretty good at most of it, right? There might be 1 or 2 where you're kind of weak, you're on a scale of 1 to 10, you're like a 3 or a 4. But the majority of those things, you're about a 6 or a 7. But if you just hire 10 people who are all 10s in each of those different skills, rather than having, you in there being mediocre at all of it, you have one person that's dedicated to it and is excellent at it. So that's what I see with the multitasking is rather than having 15 different things going on at once and, let's call it 10 different things and dedicating 10% of your attention to each of those things, just pick one, dedicate 100% of your focus to that one. Once it's done, move on to the next.
So here's my thing about multitasking. I think it depends on the task that you're doing, right? Your mind can only focus on one thing at a time. You can't do multiple things. And that's why having my multiple tabs is a bad thing. I keep them open with the excuse that, well, it's going to waste more time for me trying to open up a new tab and going to the website and logging in. So I'm just going to leave it open and get back to it later. But what happens is I'm focusing on that. I get caught up in that one thing. And then it says, okay, well, it's going to load. So while it's loading, I go do something else. And I get caught up in doing that one thing. And then I forget that I was even working on project A because now I'm focused on project B. And by the time I go back to project A, like nothing ever gets done. Now you can chew gum and walk at the same time. Those are 2 things that you can do at the same time. Most people can, right? So take advantage of some things that you can multitask on and understand the things that you can't, right? Doing 2 things at once is damn near impossible. Running and listening to an audiobook, now those are 2 things you can do at the same time. Driving and listening to a podcast, those are 2 things you can do at the same time. But writing an essay and creating ad copy, those are not 2 things you can do at the same time, right? It's just, that's the way it works.
2 different things.
Focus your attention. You'll get more done in less amount of time with higher quality if you focus your attention on that one thing. Limit the multitasking to very mundane activities. If you're cooking, go ahead and play some music or play a podcast, right? Or read an audiobook at the same time. Those are 2 things that you can do that doesn't matter. You're focusing your attention on the food that you're making, but you're listening and learning at the same time. Anything else? Don't do it. You're just wasting your time. You're going round in circles, and you're going to end up doing things over. Dude, perfect example. Growing up, my parents used to say, all right, guys, go clean your room. And what did we do? We would go in their room and we'd throw everything in the closet and under the bed, right? And what would Dad do? Dad comes in at the end of the room and he's like, wow, you guys did a good job. Let me just see. Lifts up the bed and takes everything out from under the bed. Let me see in the closet. Take everything out from in the closet. Now, you can do a job once correctly, or you can do it again over and over until you get it right. The choice is yours. You're going to multitask on some of the bigger activities that you're working on. Guess what? You're not going to get it right, and you're probably going to have to do it over and over again. So don't waste your time. Limit your multitasking. Focus your attention. Get the stuff done that you need to get done, and then take it out the way. Go on to the next.
Angel had something similar to that. It said there's 2 ways to do things: the right way or again.
That's right. That's how it works. That's how it works.
And this last one, time management tips, review your day. So this is something I know that you've been doing for a while. We talked about your morning journal where you set out your intentions for the day. And I know that you do a nightly journal where you review the things that you've done for the day. I'll give you a chance to talk about it. But you know what? Go ahead. Just jump right into it. Tell us about that nightly journal.
Yeah, so nightly journal at the end is just a recap of my day. So I use it for a couple things. One, let's see how I did, right? So when it comes to my run, like I write down what was my run time, and why was it that way? What about my daily intention? What did I intend to do today? Did I get it all done? Was I even effective, right? It's one thing to get it done. Did it work? And then the other thing is, what ideas did I come up with today? As I'm going through my day, as I'm doing things, I talk to someone new, I'm on the podcast, I have new ideas that come into my head. How can I take these new ideas? How do they play into my overall role? And how can I modify them? And then lastly, what do I want to get done tomorrow? That's the last thing I always write in my journal. What is it that I want to get done the next day? If I can figure out tonight what I'm going to want to do the next day, or what's the thing I want to focus on tomorrow, I go to bed thinking about it. And that puts my mind in a position where it now can possibly dream about that stuff. My mind is still working, even though my body's asleep. Right? Your mind is still working. So if you clean out the day, it's kind of like, for me, I take a shower in the morning after I work out, but I also take a shower before I go to bed. I feel like I have to wash the day off and get ready for a fresh start. And the journal helps me do the same thing. I wash the day off and put it on paper. And now I prepare myself for the next day so that throughout the night, I'm thinking about it. Maybe in my dream, I come up with a solution, or at some point my mind is already pondering that question that I'm asking myself, and it's just going to drop it on me the next day at some point, the answer that I'm looking for. So
roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads.
You just take off.
Just take off. Go.
I love it. I love it. Yeah. So reviewing the day. I love your nightly journal. I definitely wrote that down. The last time that we were talking about your morning journal, I took the notes. I only had my phone, but the nightly journal, the runtime, the one thing analysis, what great ideas did I have today? What do I want to get done tomorrow? That's awesome stuff. I do, my weekly plan, and I this week started journaling at night as well. But these are all awesome things to write down. These are things that, really good to look at. I do a weekly analysis, a weekly review. So that's part of my routine at the end of every week. But to be able to do that every day and plan out the next day, it's awesome, because you basically go to bed thinking about the things that you want to get done tomorrow, how you want to feel tomorrow, and it sets it up. It's my buddy Parker calls it bookending your day. So bookends are tying, keeping the books tightened together, and you're doing the same thing with your day, with your morning journaling and with your nightly journaling, just bookending your day. So it's awesome.
And by the way, then you start getting into all kinds of cool stuff. And I'm going to end with this. The reason why I get up at 4:20 every morning is because most of the stuff that I need to get done gets done by 8 a.m. And so my day, for the most part, the most important parts of my day, the things that I need to get done on a daily basis, are done by 8 a.m. After that, I do everything else that I want to get done in the day, not the stuff that I have to get done in the day. So if something were to happen, after 8 a.m. and I wasn't able to do anything else, I know that I was effective still that day. And so that's the power of getting up a little bit earlier. That's the power of knowing what you need to get done the next day. That's the power of swallowing the frog early in the morning and just getting it out of the way. You're going to get these things done. And then you wonder why the people who are super successful are successful. It's because they know what needs to get done. They get it done, and they don't even worry about it anymore. That's it, right?
Planning.
And execution.
Yep. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. All right, ladies and gents, that does it for us today. Thanks as always for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. Take care of us, and take care of us. I don't even know what I'm saying right now. Just go out there, leave us a review. We'd really appreciate it. You guys are awesome out there. Don't forget to follow me at Insurance Bro Show, all my social media. If you want to be a guest, go to insurancebroshow.com/guest. Would love to have you on and learn from you. So that's it for us today. Thanks so much. We love you. You rock my socks. You have my heart, as always.
Have a nice day.
Thank you for tuning in to the Insurance Bro Show. James is the CEO of the Pipeline team of San Diego and is always in the market for top talent. If you're an agent looking for a place to hang your license, visit www.pipelineinsurance.com/agent opportunities or send an email to newagent@pipelineinsurance.com. Look for James on all social media at